They saw it, the shift in your eyes, the stiffness in your jaw, that microscopic pause in your breath when they said the thing they knew would hit you, and in that tiny moment, they won, not because they were right, not because they were smarter or stronger, but because they found the lever inside you, and now they know how to pull it. You didn't lose the argument. You didn't lose your dignity. You lost your sovereignty. We live in a time where emotional reaction is currency, where the loudest pain gets the most attention, where being offended is no longer a personal feeling, it's a public badge of honor. But underneath this cultural theater lies a disturbing truth. To be offended is not to be righteous. It is to be compromised, because when you are offended, you declare to the world, "This is where I can be broken." It is not strength, it is not morality, it is exposure, a flashing neon sign that says, "Here is my weak point." And once they see that sign, the game begins. They will press, they will repeat, they will escalate, because they've found the doorway to your mind, and if they can walk through it, they can rearrange everything inside you. The powerful don't play that game. They don't flinch, they don't twitch, they absorb, analyze, and act with surgical precision. Reaction is surrender. It is to hand over your inner fortress because someone poked your pride, and managed, is a leash. This isn't about being emotionless, this is about control, because the person who can provoke you owns you, and the one who owns you does not need to defeat you. They only need to guide your reactions one by one until you move exactly as they want. Offense is not power, it is a vulnerability broadcasted to the world. It's a vulnerability that becomes a weapon in someone else's hands. Look around you. Every comment section is a battlefield, every post a minefield, every disagreement a personal attack, and yet the real war is not being fought out in the open. It is fought inside your attention, inside your emotions, inside your choices. The manipulators of this world, those who hold the real strings, don't care who insults you. They care that you react, because while you're busy being outraged, they're busy winning. They don't need your vote. They need your distraction. They need your obedience disguised as passion. They want you predictable, programmable, profitable, and nothing makes you more profitable than outrage. Outrage keeps you online. Outrage keeps you consuming. Outrage keeps you loyal to a cause that isn't yours, but there's a way out. A narrow path, a brutally difficult one. It's called detachment. Detachment is not indifference, it is mastery. It's the ability to witness chaos without becoming it, to hear insults without internalizing them, to feel the pull of reaction, and choose silence. You do not have to respond, you do not have to explain, you do not have to dance every time someone plays your song. Your stillness is your shield, your silence is your sword. And when the world sees that you don't flinch, it panics, because you are no longer readable, no longer steerable, no longer prey. They will call you cold, they will call you arrogant, they will say you lack empathy. Let them, their words only matter if you decide they do, and that is the entire point. Freedom is not granted, it is not voted on, it is not given by applause or validation. Freedom is built in the moment you choose not to react. And when enough of those moments stack, you become something terrifying. A person who cannot be moved by anything but their own will. While the world spins in chaos, people barking, crying, raging, you remain anchored. You listen, you observe, and you decide. While they attack shadows, you plan revolutions. While they chase recognition, you chase truth. While they burn themselves for attention, you build empires in silence. The difference between the ruler and the ruled. The ruler does not advertise his triggers. He hides them. Better yet, he removes them. He does not demand respect. He commands it, by needing nothing. The man who needs to be understood will always kneel to those who misunderstand him. The man who needs to be praised will always serve those who flatter him, but the man who needs nothing, he is ungovernable. That is the essence of control, not over others, over yourself. Because when they can't move you with their insults, when they can't rile you with their lies, when they can't bait you into revealing your soft spots, they're left with nothing, and nothing is terrifying. So, ask yourself, what offends you? A joke, a comment, a rejection. Good. Now you know where you are still weak. Now you know what you must destroy within yourself, because what offends you owns you. And what owns you defines you. If you are easily provoked, you are easily predicted. If you are easily predicted, you are easily used. They know your next move before you do. They've scripted your outrage, your apology, your entire performance. You think you're resisting, but you're playing your part. You think you're strong, but you're just loud. You think you're winning, but you're bleeding for their cause. They didn't need to beat you. They just needed to trigger you. Every platform, every campaign, every algorithm is designed with one outcome in mind. Reaction, not action, not thought, not growth, just reaction. Because reaction keeps the machine running. But there is a glitch in that system. And that glitch is you. If you choose not to react, you stall their machinery. If you remain calm, their game breaks. If you stop taking the bait, they can no longer fish. You become untouchable. They cannot mock you into motion. They cannot shame you into action. They cannot offend you into submission. And that is where the real power lies, not in louder voices, not in bigger crowds, but in the stillness of the one man who does not move when poked. The man who does not flinch, the woman who does not explain, the soul who does not beg. That is the apex predator in a world of emotional prey. In every age, there are those who choose silence over spectacle, discipline over drama, purpose over popularity, and these people do not win with noise. They win with presence. While others react, they prepare. While others cry out, they chart their course. While others burn for attention, they build in darkness. One day, the world will wake up and wonder how the throne was taken. It wasn't taken in a scream. It was taken in silence. So let the world rage. Let them fight each other for scraps of attention. Let them scream their wounds into the void. You walk past the fire. You walk past the bait. You walk past the weakness they so desperately want you to show, because you are not a puppet, you are not a pawn, you are not a slave to your feelings. You are sovereign, and sovereigns do not flinch. They rule. They observed your reaction, the subtle flinch, the involuntary twitch, the fleeting expression that betrayed your inner turmoil. In that instant, they secured their victory. Not because they were correct, nor because they held superior ground, but because they identified your trigger. They now possess the blueprint to manipulate you at will. We inhabit a society fixated on taking offense. Every utterance is scrutinized, each post dissected, and every opinion transformed into a battleground. Yet, beneath the surface of this perpetual outrage lies a stark reality. To be offended is to expose oneself. It is not a testament to strength or virtue, but a revelation of vulnerability. When you take offense, you broadcast a perilous message. Here lies my weakness. You hand over the keys to your psyche, delineating the precise coordinates where your defenses crumble. The powerful remain unshaken. They seek understanding, not emotional upheaval. The moment you succumb to offense, you relinquish control. You abandon strategy for impulse, command for chaos. You cease to think like a sovereign and begin to react like a subordinate. This is not an advocacy for emotional numbness, but a call for invincibility. The world is indifferent to fairness, decorum, or your feelings. Those who ascend, the tacticians, the unseen rulers, do not flinch. They do not react, they observe. Offense is a snare, a lure designed to draw you into an emotional arena where you are at a disadvantage. So ponder this. What offends you? An insult, a dismissal, a differing viewpoint. Good, now you have identified the aspects within yourself that require fortification. If it offends you, it owns you, and if it owns you, you are not autonomous. You are a marionette in a theater of manipulation. Offense is not a display of strength. It is a flare that illuminates your position to every adversary. It is a silent proclamation. Here I am, fragile, reactive, easily manipulated. Those who seek dominion are perpetually scanning for fissures. When you take offense, you create one, broad and conspicuous. You may believe you are making a principled stand, defending your honor, but in truth, you are surrendering your mental stronghold. The offended individual becomes predictable, impulsive, and, most critically, susceptible to conquest. One does not vanquish a formidable opponent through physical confrontation, but by steering their emotions. Offense becomes the steering mechanism. Historical strategists understood this long before the advent of modern outrage culture. They cautioned rulers to avoid inciting the masses, not out of reverence, but as a calculated tactic. An enraged populace can be weaponized, but an offended individual is more straightforward, a pre-programmed target, reacting precisely as anticipated. In contemporary times, the powerful do not fear your indignation, they exploit it, they cultivate it, directing it to serve their objectives. The more readily you take offense, the more effortlessly you are corralled. Reflect on the last occasion you felt genuinely offended. How long did you maintain rationality before emotion took the helm? That is not empowerment. It is servitude, emotional servitude. Here lies the concealed truth. You are not compelled to react. You are not obligated to feel wounded. You are not bound to defend your ego against every slight. True power resides in your capacity to remain unaffected, to recognize the bait and disregard it. The world anticipates your flinch, your outburst, because that is the hallmark of the weak. But if you can stand composed, unreadable, you transcend into something formidable, untouchable. When nothing offends you, you become unpredictable, unbreakable, liberated. Offense shackles you to the manipulations of others. Detachment severs those chains, and it becomes even more advantageous. When you master your own susceptibility to offense, you gain mastery over theirs. While they seethe, you strategize. While they lament, you calculate. While they expose their vulnerabilities, you sharpen your acumen. The offended clamor, the powerful remain silent. The offended self immolate for public spectacle. The powerful observe, bide their time, and seize the throne. You face a decision. Persist as a pawn, swayed by every word, every post, every glance, or eradicate the part of you that flinches, that seeks validation, that craves societal approval, and reconstruct yourself into an entity impervious to external influence. The offended are puppets, the unoffendable are sovereigns. In a realm of puppets, the sovereign stands unrivaled. Historically, offense was a private sentiment, an internal cue to bolster oneself. But over time, society discerned a chilling insight. Offense could be manufactured, commodified, and wielded as a tool of control. Thus commenced one of the most effective experiments in mass manipulation, the weaponization of sensitivity. Today, society not only permits offense, it incentivizes it. The more delicate your sensibilities, the more attention you garner, the more emotionally reactive, the more validation you receive. Yet it is all an elaborate ruse, a meticulously crafted deception. Genuine power is not bestowed, it is seized, and no individual intoxicated by outrage ever seizes anything. They merely consume what is presented to them. Outrage, distraction, division, until their autonomy is eroded. Observe your surroundings. Outrage is not scarce, it is mass-produced. Social media thrives on it, news outlets depend on it, political campaigns are constructed upon it, not on reason, strength, or unity, but on outrage. Because outrage accomplishes three objectives: it divides, pitting individuals against each other; it distracts, diverting attention from those who wield true power; and it renders people malleable, as an emotional crowd does not deliberate, it obeys. Strategists of the past would marvel at the sophistication of this system. They advised rulers to keep the populace occupied with diversions to prevent contemplation of rebellion. Today, leaders have perfected this concept, engrossing the populace in conflicts over trivialities, too consumed by outrage to discern the true holders of power. Sensitivity has been transformed into currency, but it holds value only within the market that created it. You may feel empowered by your offense, righteous, acknowledged, but in reality, you have become a commodity. Your outrage is quantified, monetized, and manipulated to advance agendas beyond your perception. The irony is stark. The more you depend on offense for empowerment, the less actual power you possess. Real power is not boisterous, it is subdued. It is not emotional, it is calculated. It does not rage over words, it molds the minds of those who do. The world has conditioned you to take offense because it simplifies your subjugation. It encouraged you to don your emotions as armor, but in truth, it left you exposed on the battlefield. You believe you are combating injustice, but you are hemorrhaging from self-inflicted wounds. You think you are resisting, but you are maneuvering precisely as intended. If liberation is your goal, comprehend this. Sensitivity is not a virtue. it is a liability. An individual who prioritizes sensitivity over sovereignty will perpetually be at the mercy of louder voices, harsher criticisms, and more cunning manipulations. They will spend their existence reacting, while the rulers continue to triumph. In the contest for your psyche, offense is the initial breach, but detachment is the primary defense. When they can no longer provoke you, they lose their grip, and when they lose their grip, they can no longer exploit you. We reside in an era where words have become weapons, and every reaction, every emotional eruption, is a triumph for those adept at manipulation. You may believe you are in control, that your outrage serves as a shield, but in truth, it is a weapon turned against you. This encapsulates the essence of psychological warfare, the conquest of minds without the need for physical confrontation. By mastering the art of triggering emotional responses, one can dominate narratives, influence behaviors, and commandeer choices. The powerful are well versed in this doctrine. They craft environments where every word, every scenario, elicits a reaction that serves their interests. Contemplate the frequency with which you have reacted impulsively, devoid of strategy, simply due to someone's words. In those moments, you relinquish control, ceasing to think, and instead respond to a game orchestrated by others. They desire your reaction, your anger, your engagement with the bait, for it renders you vulnerable. Each emotional response unveils your deepest susceptibilities to those poised to exploit them. When you react emotionally, you become predictable, and predictability is antithetical to freedom. Consider the dichotomy, the manipulator versus the manipulated. The manipulator comprehends that emotions are easily incited, that a well-placed provocation can ignite a predictable response. People are creatures of habit. Once an emotional reaction is triggered, it becomes increasingly facile to replicate. The manipulator remains composed, always strategizing, while the manipulated expends energy on inconsequential emotions, losing sight of genuine control. To extricate yourself from this psychological snare, adopt a deceptively simple yet challenging approach. Detach. Cease reacting, cease defending, cease feeling. Embrace the art of psychological warfare by denying your adversaries the satisfaction of your response. When you exhibit no emotion, when you remain unflinching, you claim victory. In this psychological contest, the first to react concedes defeat. By abstaining from reaction, you reclaim autonomy, severing the chains of manipulation. Achieving this state demands discipline and a willingness to defy convention. Most will falter, unable to attain this level of control, as it necessitates rare qualities, the capacity to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. The manipulator banks on your impulsivity, your outrage. By withholding these, you render them impotent. Offense serves as the gateway to your psyche, the method by which they dismantle you. But to become untouchable, you must rise above the emotional tumult, govern your responses, and, in doing so, command the entire game. Authentic power does not clamor for attention, does not seek validation. It is the silent force that commands respect without utterance. In a world clamoring for recognition, the whisper becomes a formidable presence. In a society easily provoked, the composed individual dominates the arena. Historical strategists distrusted those who wore their emotions openly, viewing them as susceptible to manipulation. The stoic, the unprovoked, the inscrutable. These were the formidable figures, impervious to provocation, unbreakable, unplayable. If true power is your aspiration, relinquish the compulsion to react. Speak sparingly, reveal little, remain unresponsive. Allow others to exhaust themselves in futile outbursts. You, however, will remain steadfast, cultivating a storm so potent that its arrival is unforeseen. In the modern landscape, offense has become a strategic weapon. Entire empires of influence are constructed upon it. By provoking the masses, one can commandeer their emotions, and by extension, their actions. It is a tether most remain oblivious.